And with the understanding that Omicron is all over the place and not just coming from abroad, Israel decided to reopen its borders to foreign tourists as long as they're vaccinated and arriving from non-red countries. The new regulations are set to take place this coming Sunday and will require those arriving to Israel to take a PCR test at the airport upon their arrival and wait in quarantine until the result arrives or for the first 24 hours, whichever is shorter. Most of the countries have now been taken out of the red list, with just a few remaining, but among them are the United States, the United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. And on this issue, we're joined here in the studio by Eran Brill, who's the General Manager at Superb Tourism Services. Eran, thank you very much for being with us. And before we even speak about this specific issue, where is the tourism industry standing here in Israel following 2 years, basically, of Corona and the country being, for most of the time, practically shut down?
So as far as the tourism industry right now in Israel, we're in a pretty bad shape. Many of the staff in the international companies, the incoming tourism companies, have found new jobs, a new way of life. They had to bring living to their homes and went to other professions. So right now, many of the companies are missing staff, which will delay the service for the foreign travel agents or the end clients that wants to come to Israel. Hotels are missing staff. As far as tour guides that want to be teachers or to be taxi drivers or bus drivers, so we'll have to readapt again and rebuild the industry, not from the beginning, but almost from half.
And now that, at least as it seems, as of next week, foreign tourists, as long as they're vaccinated, will be allowed in. How much of a boost is that to the industry?
I can tell you that on the previous opening in October, we saw an immediate boost. Today, we don't see an immediate boost because Israel, to most of the world, is a red country. We have more than 10,000 cases a day. We are not fully open to the UK and to the US as we define them as red countries, and they cannot come in, which was a majority of our incoming business. As far as leisure tourism or corporate, this is also a very low season. January and February, before COVID, was a low season. So if we do expect to see any business soon, we'll be starting March. However, unfortunately, at the moment, they're open for vaccinated tourists, but they did not open for people who recovered from COVID with manual certificates, which basically means if there's a couple that wants to come to Israel, and most of the Western companies, their recovery certificates are manual and not digital yet. So Israel did not recognize those certificates, and they will not be able to come here.
Perhaps a difficult question, but there was a very controversial remark recently from Finance Minister Avigdor Lieberman saying, I suggest for those people to find a new profession. How is it taken in the tourism industry?
It is not taken very well. Unfortunately, as I said before, many people has done that before that, and they did not wait for the financial minister to advise that to them because they had to bring money to their homes. But people are struggling for the business. People are protesting. You can see more and more protests, and people trying to keep this very important industry that brings over $6 billion a year into Israel from foreign tourists coming to Israel.
And finally, this thing that began in March 2020, who knows when it will end? When it ends, how will the Israeli tourism industry look?
So this is not good for us because of Israel is one of the individual countries that its policy is to close and open and close. This is also something that's not encouraging people to come and book now because they do not know if they will book for the summer or even for the upcoming holidays for Passover, what will happen, if the country will be open or not. So the policy of the government, as far as it will stay unstable, people will not make their booking ahead, and it will influence the industry.